Hello, my friends. Today I was digging through my closet looking for suitcases. My kids, my mom and I are going to Florida over spring break. So I was trying to find all the correct carry-on, appropriate sized luggage. Anyway, I came across this. That was my chemo bag, just like a diaper bag, except took this one to chemo. So I thought, well, I could kind of talk about everything I put in it and then maybe also go over what a regular chemo appointment looks like, or at least what it looked like for me 10 years ago. I'm assuming probably not a lot has changed, but this bag actually was given to me from one of the nurses. It's my oncologist office. They actually had a really nice setup. I don't know for sure, but I think a number of these bags were donated to the office and then they passed them out, which was really cool because as a first timer, you kind of are very overwhelmed, don't really know what to do. I never would have even probably thought to bring something until it was too late or until after my first chemo appointment. Um, there was some really neat stuff in the bag, and then, of course, after a time or two, figure out what I really needed. So I always kept like a blanket in there, even though I went through chemo pretty much spring through summer. The chemo rooms can be chilly, or just the medicine going into your body could make you cold. So I always had a nice blanket and some fuzzy socks. I had, once my hair fell out, I took these beanies. They make really soft beanies. I would wear that, keep my head warm. I would also sleep in one during the summer because the air conditioning in the house. I would be fine, but my head would get cold. So these really soft beanies. I would have candies or snacks in there. Definitely always had my iPad with movies on it or a subscription to a book or magazine services, so I had something to watch or to read because you don't really know how long you're going to be there. Hopefully everything started on time. It depends on the drugs. Different drugs take different amount of time to drip through the IV and into your body. Some go fast, some go really slow. So that's a factor if they have to switch out the drugs. Some drugs you can run simultaneously. Some drugs have to be given separately. Sometimes they have to flush maybe your port or maybe give you a different IV line before they start the next drug. There was one drug I took that had a very high allergic reaction rate. So they gave me Benadryl, like really strong Benadryl, before they administered the drug just to sort of get ahead of any potential reaction. Regular Benadryl just makes me fall asleep. Um, this stuff was so strong. I could tell it just coming down the IV line as soon as it hit me. Like I was out. I know I fell asleep immediately. I was probably snoring. I was out cold. I would try to like wake up a little bit and probably just like snorted and like turned over in my chair and went back to sleep. So apologies to anyone who was in the chemo room with me at that point in time, but it was just like I'm out. Um, that's kind of funny. Other things in the chemo bag, yep, books, iPad for movies, um, snacks. What else? Chapstick, lotion, um, just depending on what you might have going on. I had really chapped lips at one point in time. Lotion, dry hands, dry skin. Um, what else did I take? That might be about it. If I think it's something else, I'll let you know. But chemo bag, diaper bag, it's great to just always be prepared. The appointments, basically started out with a blood draw every time. Luckily for me, I had a port, so they would put the needle in, give the port a flush. That's when I would taste the saline. That's when I would need like the candies in my mouth. So they would give it a good clean. They would take whatever blood they needed. And then once they got the results of that, it didn't take long. Then they would be like, you're good to go. I did have a couple times where they were like, look, we're concerned your blood counts are a little bit low. It's up to you if you feel like you want to go ahead and go through chemo this week. You can, but you don't have to. I always went ahead and did it. I figured I just wanted to get it over with, basically. And I did trust my doctor. If she felt like it was really not a good idea, then she would just tell me, you're not doing it this week. Luckily, that didn't happen. Anyway, once, they kind of verified that everything was kind of where it should be, get you in your chair, and then get you hooked up, like I said, to the IV bags, which sometimes it's one at a time. Sometimes you can do two at a time. And I always had multiple drugs. And I think a lot of them could not be run simultaneously. So I feel like most of the time I did take early morning appointments. Like I would get there, like 9 o'clock in the morning and probably be there till 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So it really is your entire day sitting there. It helps to have great nurses, which I did. I always look forward to them. They were always in a good mood. They were always kind and caring and just would really help you out any way that they could. Then when they were done, or when you're done, they would have to flush the port again. So I'd get the saltwater taste, another candy, and then done, I drove myself home. I would drive myself there and I would drive myself home. There was no problems with it. Again, it's not like how you see on TV. I was fine until that was a Wednesday. Thursdays I got the Neulasta shot. And then Friday evenings is really when I started to feel crappy. So I took myself to and from almost all of my appointments unless they specifically said, like with the one where I had to have the super strong Benadryl, they were like, you will need someone to drive you and pick you up. They were not wrong. I probably slept on the whole car ride home too. It was a great nap. It was a great all-day nap. So it's kind of how my appointments went. Uneventful for the most part, everyone kind of just did their own thing. I was lucky to do it in sort of my oncologist's office was a branch of a bigger office, so she was in this location just once a week on Wednesdays. The chemo room wasn't large, so there was never a lot of us in there. I did usually see the same people every week. There was a teacher in there, and he would just grade his papers. He made the most of his time, just sitting there, going through, grading all of his papers. Older couples, again, I was the youngest person in there, again, by far. I was 34. So I was, these people were my grandparents' age. Lovely people, but I would see the same people every week. So we'd get the port flush, get the gross saline taste in and out of my mouth, pack up my chemo bag, and head for home. And then I would just, maybe run some errands, do whatever I thought I could take care of before Friday. So that's it. That's how my normal days of treatment went. So, if you know someone who is going through chemo, make sure they have their chemo bag packed.